Let's talk about other superheroes, and let's talk about a trailer which dropped yesterday, that is Saturday. And let's talk about Black Panther, which is intended to be the 18th film installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this film is directed by Ryan Coogler with a screenplay by him and Joe Robert Cohen, and it stars Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa or Black Panther, and alongside him Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Diane Gurira from Walking Dead, Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, and Andy Serkis. A solid star cast as always, as you'd come to expect from Marvel Studios. And in Black Panther, T'Challa finds himself home as the king of Wakanda right after the events of Civil War, but finds his sovereignty challenged by a long-time adversary in a conflict that has global consequences. So, did you guys watch the trailer, and what did you think of it? Let's start with you, Anir.
I don't think Hollywood knows how to make set pieces, or actually their stereotypes of certain cultures are so strong that they have to sort of translate it very literally onto the screen. It's those. First of all, I did not like the trailer too much. It's just not something that I expected, in the same sense that I was expecting something very different. I think it was something that I totally did not like. I'm not sure whether it'll be good or bad. I'll have to wait for the second trailer to actually tell you whether I'll be watching it with the same enthusiasm that I have waited for other Marvel movies. But at this point, I'm not too enthusiastic by that. When I talk about racial stereotypes being something that Hollywood doesn't know how to portray, I talk about that particular scene where you see the first waterfall and you see all of these people in their garb, right? Their traditional outfits and all, and they're all dancing for some odd reason. And at that moment, I got transported back to my childhood, and I kept remembering George of the Jungle for some reason. I was like, this is something that I was, I don't know whether that was very intentional. Of course, Wakanda is not really it is a fictional country for all purposes, so they do have certain leeway when it comes to taking liberties as to how to portray that country, but it seems too stereotypical for me. Uh, Other than that, I think the action scenes don't look too out of place. I think that's what we have come to expect. I and this is again a secondary character in the whole Marvel uh, universe. So this is something that Marvel has been doing for some time now. It doesn't, I think, play into the whole, Infinity Stones and everything. It doesn't play into that whole thing. So it'll be a standalone. I don't think it ties in very solidly to the whole Infinity Gauntlet arc that Marvel is trying to push right now. But I think all in all, it might be a very solid standalone movie. And if it is successful, yeah, it might get a lot of traction in that sense. But personally, right now, after the first trailer, not too enthusiastic for that.
I think before we talk about the trailer, I'll just talk about my experiences reading Black Panther. Like most fans, I don't think Black Panther was very high on the list, on the reading list. I read that quite later in my life, and I really enjoyed reading him on the pages of Fantastic Four. This was one underrated character, but like Wonder Woman, I never really got why Black Panther was so revered. But then when you read into the character's backstory and what he stands for, I think with the times that we are in, it's a very relevant movie. And what they showed, the Afrofuturism as it's being called, I think that was very well done. They're mixing, this is done in the comics as well. Jack Kirby ensured that he put, those traditional African things along with all the technical marvels right along, so that they went side by side rather than having a very stereotypical thing that Lee Falk was did in Phantom Comics. So Black Panther celebrates his legacy, his heritage, along with being a leader in what is the most advanced civilization in the world. I think that was quite well done. The character designs and everything till now, I think it's the best world building that Marvel has done, just judging by the trailer. What I didn't like about the trailer is how they played out all the action scenes. I don't think it fit well, but the set designs were so good. I really liked whatever they were doing in the jungles and whenever they were in Wakanda, but the action sequences just didn't seem to gel well. For me, I think they can be fixed in post-production. That was one of my major problems with it. The flow wasn't that good. It did a good job in introducing the different characters like Danai Gurrai from The Walking Dead, who plays Michonne, and then we also had Lupita Nyong'o, and I really like seeing Michael B. Jordan in that role. I think he's going to be the villain over there. Just that being said, I think I'm really hyped for this movie, but this trailer felt very iffy to me. I don't think what was going on. Run the Jewels was a great touch to the soundtrack with what they did, but again, I wasn't very sure how it's going to be, like what the other. I don't want it to be an all rap soundtrack just because he's black, like Luke Cage. Just because he's black, let's have the blackest songs out there. I don't want that to happen. Also, when you were referring to the stereotypical dancing and everything, the scene that you were referring to, that was T'Challa's ascension to the throne, most probably. So that was a ceremony going on. I think ceremony calls for dancing. So I guess that could be forgiven.
I think there are three villains in this movie, which is, I think, is a first for a character who is having his first film. I think you, like Arindam mentioned, you see Andy Serkis's Claw talking with Martin Freeman, and then you see Eric Killmonger, who will be, I think, played by Michael B. Jordan, and you also have a shot of Winston Duke, who will be playing Manape or M'Baku. So these are characters I'm not really familiar with because, like Arindam also said, I'm not a huge fan of Black Panther. I do understand why he's important, and I've read a few comics here and there, but I'm not a huge fan of the character. I've not been exposed to him sufficiently as much as I would want to. But it looks the trailer looks a little iffy. I agree with both of you. It looks a little strange. No pun intended. Let's just hope that the trailer of the first trailer, in fact, this was a teaser, but the first trailer allays all our fears that we have for this film. But I'm pretty sure that this movie will be fucking fantastic because Ryan Coogler, in both of his films, Fruitvale Station and Creed, both of these films were fantastically shot. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it's going to be another winner for Marvel, I think. But then again, the trailer did not do anything to give you that feeling. You just know from the pedigree of the people involved in this film.